Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious cinnamon rolls. They're really soft and squishy, they're just amazing. So we're going to start off with plain flour in your mixing bowl, and then to one side of the bowl you're going to add in the sugar and the yeast, and to the other side you're going to add in the salt. Now the reason we separate them is because if the salt touches the yeast directly, it's going to kill it, so we separate them and then whisk them through on their own. Now if you want all the details of ingredients and quantities, they will be in the description box below. Once that's all combined, you're going to set that onto your stand mixer with the dough hook attached. We're not going to mix this at this stage, we're just putting it to the side while we work on our wet ingredients. So that's water, milk and butter. Heat that in the microwave for about a minute and a half until A, the butter's melted, and B, you want it to be sort of warmed to touch. So about 55 degrees C, but if you stick your finger in, it should just feel quite warm. So we're going to add that in on slow speed into your mixer, and you want to give that a good mix through. Start off on low speed, then you can, once it starts to come together a bit, you can turn up the speed, and it should sort of look something like this. Once you get to form a dough and it starts to come away from the sides of the bowl a bit like this, you can add in the egg, and this is a really enriched dough, so it's really delicious. So you're going to give that egg a good beat in, and once it starts to look like this, you can turn the mixer off, and we're going to liberally flour our surface, and then we're going to tip out the dough on top. Now I'm using a dough scraper. If you don't have one of these, you could just use a spatula. So a bit more flour goes on top because it is such a wet dough, we need a lot of flour to start sticking, and we're going to need that for about 10 minutes. Now this does two things: it incorporates some flour into the dough to dry it out a little bit, and it also develops the gluten so we get really soft cinnamon buns. Once you can sort of form your dough into a ball and it won't rip, it's done. So you can place that into your bowl, cover it with a tea towel and leave it to just relax for about half an hour. We're not proofing it, we're just relaxing gluten. Meanwhile, we can make our paste. That's softened butter, brown sugar and cinnamon. I've used about 3 tablespoons of cinnamon, but you can use less if you want. And you just want to stir that all through until it's combined. So more flour goes down and we're going to place our dough on top, and I like to form it into a rectangle at this point because it just helps with the shape that we're going for. And then we're going to put a bit more flour on the rolling pin and we're going to roll that out till it's about the thickness of a pound coin, maybe a little bit more. But the best way to do it really is to measure it, so we're going for 10 by 17 inches. As you're rolling it out, you want to make sure that you're keeping it in that rectangle shape. So if that means pushing out the corners a bit and pushing in the rounded edges, you need to keep doing that, because then we're going to get a nice rectangular shape and it means we waste as little dough as possible. Once you're at that 10 by 17 inch mark, you can add on that paste. So I'm just adding it on a spatula at a time, little dollops all over. And the reason we do this just makes it easier to spread out really. So once all the paste is on, you're going to take a small offset spatula and just spread that out evenly. Now it's quite a soft and delicate dough, so you want to be kind of gentle with this, but you can do it quite quickly. Now it doesn't have to look perfect like this, you just want to make sure it's an even layer and it's no bulging up areas. And we can start to roll up your cinnamon rolls. So we're starting from a long edge, and you sort of want to just tuck over that first edge, and then gently with 2 hands roll that up into a nice tight log. If you make this too loose, it's just going to fall apart in the oven, so make it quite tight as you roll. Now we're going to trim off the ends because they're going to be a bit lacking in filling, using a sharp serrated knife. Now this will make about 10 to 12 cinnamon rolls, so I'm just cutting it in half, and then each of those in half again, and then each of those into 3. The best technique is to support the side of the cinnamon roll and use a sharp serrated knife and just gently saw through. I got a greased and lined 10-inch tin, and we're going to place those around. You want to give them quite a bit of space because they're going to puff up when we proof them. And then you're going to cover that with tin foil and leave it in a warm place for about an hour to an hour and a half to rise. If you've got any spare cinnamon buns that didn't fit in the tin, you can grease a muffin tin with a bit of oil and just stick them in there and they'll work perfectly fine. So once your cinnamon rolls have puffed up like this, you're going to bake them at 180 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. To make a glaze, we're going with sifted icing sugar, a bit of milk, some vanilla and some salt, and you're just going to stir that all through. I didn't bother with the cream cheese. If you want to make a cream cheese glaze, you can, but this glaze is really delicious and it's just much quicker. So it's quite thick, but we want that because we're going to take our cinnamon buns out of the oven and we're going to glaze them straight away, and the glaze is sort of going to melt into this warm cinnamon buns and make them go all soft and delicious. And that is literally it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. You can give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed. You can click here to see my last video and here to see a video randomly selected by YouTube for you.